Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with Dare to Defy 6, the Transcendence 13 Redux fight. We got a team here featuring Ash, Beatrix, and Young. Before we get too deep into it, be sure to hit the like button on that video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this particular Dare to Defy lockout fight. If you've already cleared tier 13, you're probably a little bit like, what? Because, this fight is a little bit of a slight letdown from that. I know with the last Dare to Defy that featured a Transcendence fight, they did nerf the fight in Dare to Defy, which makes sense to me because, like, the Transcendence fights are supposed to be, like, a level above regular Shinryu, in theory. And so, for them to bring that into, like, the 7 lockout fights that are all otherwise Shinryu, it kind of makes sense they tweak it to try to make it, like, all kind of same level. Especially if Dare to Defy is intended for players who maybe aren't going out of their way to be Transcendence. It's kind of a level below that as far as kind of the level of player they're expecting, or whatever. That said, well, in the last time they nerfed the boss HP, which also nerfed their HP regen, which was and that was kind of definitely made it easier. But it's still the fight was kind of fundamentally the same. I think the change they made for this fight, I do not agree with, by the way, using kick there just to try to... We're trying to avoid pushing any of these dudes below 40% too early. Anyway, the reason, though, I say that is because the thing they did here is they just completely got rid of the whole, like, oh, they are force charges really, really fast, and it goes up like 7 bonus % every time a player acts. It's crazy. That's, near as I can tell, the only change. I don't know if they nerfed the hit points or not here. Seemed like the same amount of hit points, which was already kind of lowish. But anyway, that is, changing that is absolutely devastating for a couple of reasons. One, I think just the threat and cadence of the fight is all around that force time. If they're not doing that force time, there's nothing you care about. And so it's important they get that, like, often. Because it's not, if you're checking it, then it's not that big a deal. The other thing is this, the wave start. Because that resets their force gauge. And I think that's why they gave them the whole, like, supercharging FR thing, was because they're like, well, we can't have them doing exactly what they're doing here, right here. So it makes sense to me why it was doing that in Transcendence, why it was charging so fast. And so they got rid of that, and in doing so, kind of got rid of the one thing about this fight that really was, like, kind of mechanical or challenging or threatening. So that's a thing that happened. Like, in the other Transcendence fight that got nerfed for Dare to Defy, like, it got a bit weaker, but it was still fundamentally the same fight. Just the numbers were a little lower. This, it's like, oh, okay, it's a completely different fight in some ways, because you just don't have to deal with the force time at all. Anywho, let's go ahead and hop into that Ash burst phase. We were just kind of killing those dudes in the first wave, as you saw, just kind of punched them to death. And now, what we actually, I was very specific here. I found that for some reason when I did this, this is my second attempt at this. The first one I decided to reset because for some reason the force gauge just wasn't going very high, and by the time we got here, they're countering every action. It was taking forever. It just felt sluggish and bad. And I was also missing out on a lot of counterattacks because, these guys take a bunch of turns in Wave 2 for some reason. So my thinking there was I would kind of, what's the word, sandbag the first wave a little bit. That's why I didn't use Ash's burst, even though I could have, got her sweet follow-up attack and all that jazz. I saved it for this one so that we wouldn't chew through that first wave too fast, and we'd have trying to kind of get our force gauge in order, so that now, once they start doing all these counterattacks, we'll be ready to use that force and get Beatrix to just start doing right by us. You'll notice, of course, we have no dark element on the team, and we have no, like, self-HP damage stuff. Obviously, because the enemy force attack doesn't really mean anything. We're going to Freya call here because I'm convinced that the auras that it provides are better than, like, a debuff on enemy turn teams. I'm probably wrong, but whatever. I mean, in a fight like this, you can afford to get a little creative with your calls, and I think that's something I like about this game, is you can be a little bit creative, and you can use a little. You don't need to use the best-in-class call if you don't want to, unless you're trying to do something very specific. Like a one-turn run or something goofy. Anywho, speaking of goofy things, Anacro. My thinking here was, I was like, ooh, well, Beatrix's EX hits so much harder than her base skills. Let's see if we can get some goofy Anacro recharge goofiness during the force time. As you'll see, it does not play out like that at all. We'll get to that. But anyway, Beatrix Force time. On this wave, it's really funny. We've seen this before. For enemies whose counterattacks aren't scary or lethal, that's just asking for you to just kind of take advantage of that. So we got Yang and Beatrix here. Ashe, of course, providing that Thunder Enchant for Yang, so she actually is serving a use on this team beyond just being kind of a cool character I like. Actually, something you might have noticed if you're sharp-eyed, you actually may have noticed in the first wave, I actually used Ashe's EX to paralyze them for one or two turns. Reason there being, again, like, I was trying to get through the wave quickly, but also not, like, kill them quickly, so I figured, let's not let them counterattack us, or let's not counterattack them, and thereby, you know, preserve some of their hit points. So I was actually saving them from themselves with that paralyze in order to just kind of, as I said, kind of sandbag the fight a little bit. Also, this way, you know, I get to press the fun button, and it doesn't actually bite me in the butt. So, that's that. We will, of course, be avoiding the rest of Ashe's EX this fight. You'll notice we didn't press it at all during her burst phase. But that's okay. Her burst phase wasn't there for damage. It was there to charge the EX gauge and get her sweet follow-up attack, which will occasionally be seen. She's pretty slow. Especially, in this situation where the enemy's taking like 80,000 turns. And Beatrix is just having a great time countering. So is Yang, of course. Yang's still one of the best C90 units we have received. My god, Yang is so good. The fact that he's Fist is just on top of everything else great, because he synergizes so well with Greatsword units, and although all the other Greatsword units would synergize very well with each other, but, like, you know, not many people have double Greatsword. Oh yeah, so you probably noticed it's super duper late video. Kuja's coming like tomorrow, I think. I was very busy. I had a lot going on. I had to like re-insulate my roof, and that was pretty cool. Well, actually, it was pretty warm. The house is nice and toasty now, so that's pretty great. But yeah, I didn't have time to be doing this fight twice, even though this fight was actually really a gimme. I'm sitting on this footage for a little while now. So, what are we doing? Oh yeah, we paralyzed this guy because I got cocky and thought to myself, well, we're going to just, like, break him a bunch during the course of the Force time, so there's no point, like, we're probably going to push him back, and he's not going to actually get a turn during the Force time, is what I was thinking. As you can see, I just really didn't think that through at all. He's definitely getting at least one turn, if not more. So I kind of shot myself in the foot there. At the very least, I could have done the EX on Ashe's next turn. I wanted that sweet single target damage, you know, but, yeah, not really worth it. So, yeah, you live, you learn. It's okay. So we're losing out on some force charge here, but we'll get over it, I guess. Maybe. Honestly, it probably could have been a one force time run if I hadn't done that, but it's okay. We're doing just fine here. We're gonna get over this terrible decision that I made. And this was also not a great idea, I think, in hindsight. I was thinking, ooh, big burst finisher in the force time. Yeah, great. The problem is that it doesn't get her follow-up, and, like, so, you know what, maybe it is fine. I've been overthinking that particular move this whole time, just because I was like, what if it wasn't the right thing to do, but, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Anywho, let's bring that Brothers, boom, and hit him with that shock. There we go. Buzzant. Now, as you can see here, we're missing about 15% of their health. Now, I'm guessing the counter plus the force bonus that we would have gotten from that one counterattack earlier probably wasn't going to make the difference here, but maybe it will, and I'll never know. I mean, it's going to haunt my dreams. I'm just going to question myself forever. Anywho, we're just trying to recharge that force gauge now. I mean, you know, in theory, we could try to, like, just chip him down at this point, because it's not like he's going to be charging his force gauge faster than us. But who has time for that, right? Like, this has already taken long enough. Ashe is pretty cool. Like, all those follow-up attacks and the cool animations and the... I don't know, I just think Ashe is pretty sweet. I don't think she's, like, good by any means, but I think she got a bad rap when she came out, just because, you know, frankly, there are a lot of better characters just because we've gotten so many broken characters in this game. Vaughn, Tifa, Reigns, Jack Garland, Renoa, who else? I mean, you know, Rydia in her own way. Count off-turn units, you know, et al. And of course, Echoes are coming. So, like, yeah, I get the whole, like, anti-Ashe thing, but I think she's pretty neat anyway. At the very least, she has unique utility, and I can't say whether that will come up or not, but hey, it's nice to have. So we're going to go ahead and activate that Leo call, which I meant to do earlier just to get that sweet HP cap up, but I also didn't want to delay units, and you know how it is when you use an off turn. It's kind of goofy. It also is it's actually funny because if I'd used it on a previous wave, Young wouldn't have gotten the bonus, but now because it's a single target attack, single target fight, everything's getting the bonus. So I'm kind of secretly a genius, aren't I? That was really good. Dang, I'm smart. Dang, I'm good at this game. Oh, so good at this game. Boom. Oh, man, I was hoping I was going to kill. Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. I was just talking about Ash. Ash, bring us home. Here we go. Probably the biggest hit you could do here. Big EX, big arc blast, big BT effect. Into the sky. Launch. There we go. That's what we'd like to see. Oh, Young has to KS, I guess. There we go. So that's Dare to Defy 6. We have one fight to go. I've heard it is unimpressive, but we'll get there. We'll see how it is. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Oh yeah, as you can see, the Enoch Pro Call is completely useless. That was great. Adios.